Hi, I'm David Lane and welcome to another streamlined edition of Sports Vision for this week. Joining me to talk all things rugby is the Director of Rugby over at Western District's Rugby Club, Craig Roberds. Robert, how are you going?
Good, thanks, Dave. How's things?
Oh, not too bad, mate, not too bad. Mate, you were a premiership winning captain and a multiple McDougall medal winner during your playing career at West. Was it always going to be a fait accompli that you become a coach over there?
I think it probably had more to the position I played at 5'8". Obviously, a pretty crucial position, a tactical position, and remember every week just going through the videos with our then coach Jeff Stokes, and I think that sort of made going through analysing each game, working out our strengths, opposition's weaknesses, and their strengths, sort of coming up with game plans from that. I think that probably led more to a logical progression to me than actually thinking about too much along the way. I think it was more just evolving as a player, which also led to going down that coaching stream.
Fair enough. Wes have had a pretty stable lineup over the last few seasons. Does retaining the majority of your top squad each year make it easier or harder on a coach to get prepared in the pre-season?
Oh, it definitely makes it easier. I mean, if you're working on some definite strategies and some game plans and some set plays which you want to keep year in, year out, you don't need to start from scratch again.
Mm-hmm.
And even just the training ideas you're trying to bring across make things easier. You don't have to, sit down each week in, week out and explain it to the guys. I can just get in, hop into it straight away.
Get stuck into it. Yeah, what challenges does this present in ensuring that the players are improving their skills each year, though?
I mean, you just got to, I think, within not just each year, each sort of training session, you just got to adapt the skills, what we're trying to work on each week, just to make sure the guys are still ticking over, they're not getting bored. And I think one of the key things is it is a long season, so you've got to make sure they're having fun. If they're doing the same drills and skills year in, year out, they're going to get bored pretty quickly. So, I mean, most of the skills are pretty much on the same basis, yet you just got to have some modifications, some fun element in there to make sure the guys are enjoying themselves and get stuck into it at the same time.
One player who has impressed everybody so far this season is Jesse Mogg, with his chip and chase skills resulting in a couple of tries this year. I think he's on 3 tries for the season so far this year. Tell us a bit about his background and how he is fitting into the club.
Yeah, mate, he's a definite excitement machine at the back, coming from fullback, and teams are pretty reluctant to kick to him now since seeing the damage that he can do, especially from his chip and chase. He was playing first grade up in Brisbane for Norths up there, and then switched to the Broncos under-20s during last season. Unfortunately, I guess for him, and fortunate for us, but he didn't get a full contract with the Broncos, so he had an offer to try out for the academy end of last year, and obviously shone during those trials, and we were fortunate enough to billet him at that time. So, and again on top of that, we were fortunate enough to pick him up as one of our players. So yeah, mate, he's a great prospect. He's a really good kid. He's fit in really well to the culture of the club. He lives with Robberds, our club captain, and Drew Southwell, our first grade winger. So he's in a good little house there. Anything he asks, he's always happy to help out on the barbecue on Saturday, or collecting money, this and that. Whatever you need from him, mate, he's always happy to help out. Yeah,
it's always good to have those clubmen around the club, putting in off the field as well as on, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. He also is one of our development officers as well. So he's out amongst the schools, doing some great work there. All reports that from the teachers, he's doing a great job. So, mate, he's a great, really good kid for the club and great prospect in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of other young players, can you give us the names of a few of the other young up-and-comers that the club's looking to build success around in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, probably 2 of the kids, unfortunately, had the season any injuries. Adrian Turner, who had his first year in first grade last year, and unfortunately is having knee reconstruction. He's a great talent. Probably not sure what position he's best at yet, but he's started off as halfback, then sort of moved to sort of one of either of the centre spots. Unfortunately, he's out, but he's been in the Tier 4 academy program. Dylan Takado Simpson, another one who's come down from Queensland. He unfortunately has had a shoulder reconstruction, so he played sort of Aussie touch for Australia, and sort of involved in the academy program, but unfortunately, as I said, he had a shoulder reconstruction, so he's out. Another young prospect, young Matty Ryan, who's out of Colts from last year, ended up playing the second grade grand final due to a few injuries. He's back, had a couple of injuries at the start of the year, but he's in first grade at the moment. Tall kid, plenty of ability, just needs to probably put on about 10 kilos.
At least 10, I think. I think closer to 15 might be the way to go.
He's progressing well. Also got a couple of good back rowers in Paddy Lowe and Luke Roughton, who are right in the mix for the best couple in the competition, and both had unfortunately had a couple of injuries the last year or so. So hopefully we can get a bit more game time out of both of them.
Oh, no worries. With the John O'Dent competition at its most balanced in 2010, with with not as many easy games in there, and every team sort of able to beat every other team, it means that consistency and form are really paying off. As a former player and now as a coach, does this make for a better rugby competition?
Oh, it certainly does. I mean, to have week in, week out solid games, makes a big difference, and really good for the standard of ACT. And I think our standards really good at the moment, and there's a lot of talent in there. There's a lot of kids coming out from the academy program who've been in for the last couple of years, really improved the standard. You can see the fact that the standard's so even, and everyone's sort of capable of beating everyone at the moment, that it's definitely improved the competition.
Yeah. And finally, it's coming up to the 5th anniversary of the club's greatest moment, winning all 5 premierships on offer on Grand Final Day in 2005. How is the club looking at commemorating and celebrating this momentous occasion?
Yeah, it was, first of all, it's actually it's our 10-year reunion as well from our 2000 first grade Grand Final and our Colts Grand Final from that year. So we're having, on the 21st of August, we're playing Tuggies, West V Tuggies at Jamison Oval. So one, it's our Old Boys Day, but also going to be celebrating our 5 from 5 in 05, but also our 2000 successes in first grade and Colts. We're also, I think it's probably the first time ever actually trying to get up and going a reunion match between West and Tuggeranong from that 2000 first grade team. At the moment, we've got about 10 or so guys committed from both clubs, and both committed to throwing a couple more in there, so which is really good. And Brett Bowden's happy enough to referee the game. He was a referee 10 years ago, so he's going to referee the game as well. So I mean, a couple of things like that. We're really trying to make it a really big day, and then we're back to the club for an official function.
Oh, okay. And just in regards to the 5 from 5 in 05, mate, I don't think it's ever happened before. Do you think it'll ever happen again?
It definitely hasn't happened before, and I mean, you can never say never, but it's, it was a massive day for us. Then we got pretty lucky in 4th grade with a bit of a penalty try to start the day off, but 3rd grade in Colts went through undefeated through the year. Seconds only dropped 1 game through the year, and I think we only dropped 2 games through the year. So across the board, we had a phenomenal year, and I think we only dropped 4 games in the whole year. So, but if someone else can do it, I mean, it's going to take a phenomenal effort. And at the moment, it's probably a little bit tricky as well with the Monaro clubs thrown in the mix with the 3rd and 4th grade. So that's obviously strengthened up that competition, which probably makes it a little bit harder again to try and do that.
Exactly. Well, thanks for the interview today. Well done on getting back on the winners list on the weekend against Uni North.
Thanks, mate.
Good luck for the rest of the season. We hope to see you in that grand final again at the end of the year.
Thanks, Elvis. Cheers, mate.
No worries.